All right, guys, we should be officially live. I hope we're officially live. In a couple minutes, I'm going to ask all of you to do me a quick favor and let me know if you can see and if you can hear me once we actually start to get going. But I'm excited today because I started the Agent Investor brand probably 3 years ago at this point. And one thing that I'm kind of notorious for is I love to give information upon information upon information, training, live sessions, in-person events, throwing it kind of the kitchen sink at people. And one thing that I forget to do now and again is to remind people and to really go into detail about how everything fits together. And that's my purpose for today. I want to make sure that all of the resources that we give you all become applicable, all become things that you can take and that you can put into your business. So as we're live right now, I'm just going to ask if you can all kind of do me a quick favor and just let me know if you can see me and hear me before I kind of get going, because I want to make sure that the audio is good, that the video is good. I've made the mistake, unfortunately, before of going live and then having somebody tell me after the fact that they couldn't see me, they couldn't hear me. So tap into the chat box if you can see me, if you can hear me, and then I'm going to get going. I'm just going to wait 1 minute just to make sure we're kind of like good to go here. All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. I can see now. You guys can see me. You can hear me. Beautiful. All right, let's get going. So, taking it back to why I even started this group to begin with, I want to talk about kind of my story because it's going to be relevant to a lot of the people that are here on the call that are listening. My story, my agent investor story, goes all the way back to 2003. Sadly, as of the recording of this, it's almost 20 years ago. I actually just turned 40 last week, so I'm hitting big milestones in my life. But going all the way back to 2003, while I was in college, I was a pizza delivery boy. I worked for a company called Nana's Pizza in Revere, Massachusetts, which is where I grew up. And I was delivering pizzas, and somebody gave me an audiobook that I ended up putting into my white Kia Sophia. And the name of that audiobook was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I'm 21 years old at this point. I'm driving around. I'm delivering pizzas. And I'm listening to this Robert Kiyosaki book that ultimately changed my life. And I know it changed the life of a lot of people that are on this call. I know a lot of people have read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It is definitely one of the most iconic books that are out there related to investing and business. And by the time I read and finished that audiobook, I was jumped, I was jacked, I was ready to go. I wanted to be an investor. I was ready to drop out of college. I was ready to do everything I needed to do. And long story short, I finished college. And as I was finishing college, I was reading every business, every investing, every real estate book that I could kind of get my hands on. And I was loving it. I was ready to take action. And 2 years later, 2005 rolls around. I graduate college. I get an accounting job. And I still haven't done anything. I still, in my mind, was going to be a big-time investor, still had done nothing. So I decided to get my real estate license. So I get my real estate license in 2005, and I start working with friends and family, helping them to buy and sell houses while I was working my accounting job. And I'll never forget the day I got my first real estate commission check. I don't know if all of you can kind of remember this day, but I got a check for $8,750. Now, from a kid from Revere that grew up poor, getting a check for $8,750 was basically like hitting the lottery. And I remember the rush that I got, and I was like, wow, this is exactly kind of what I've been waiting for. I'm like ready to kick off my career. And keep in mind, again, I was an accountant at this time. I was working a full-time job for somebody else, and I kept working with friends and family. And I felt like I was a super successful agent. Now, looking back on it, I was probably selling 4 or 5 houses a year while keeping a full-time job, probably making $25,000 to $30,000 per year on the side. And I was having so much success that my accounting company actually fired me because I was sitting at my desk talking to people about real estate, talking to people in the office. Hey, I sell real estate. Want to work with me type of thing? And, it's crazy, like the thoughts that you have in your head at a certain point in time, and me not having the understanding that I was actually there to work for somebody else, not work to build my own business. But I ended up getting fired in 2007. And when I got fired, the first thought was like, wow, I felt really bad about myself. But my second thought was, all right, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm already a successful agent. Now I'm going to take it up to the next level now that I'm doing this full time. So I started selling real estate full time in the end of 2007. And I had a pretty good run. Like, I would sell a couple houses a month, and then I would not sell one. And then I was doing good. And I was doing everything that I was ever told to do in a real estate career, right? You build your database, you feed your database, you talk to people. And then all of a sudden, I started having like a bad few months, like no sales. And then I would have a good month where I would sell a couple houses, and then I would go 5 months without selling a house. And most of you who are on this call right now have experienced this. It's what they call the real estate roller coaster. Can you all do me a favor? If you've ever been on the real estate roller coaster when you've been going up and down, and you have a really good couple of months and then you feel really good, and then you have a bad couple of months and you feel really bad, do me a favor. If you've ever been on the real estate roller coaster, type roller coaster into the chat. I just want to see how many people have experienced that crazy, like up and down, like feeling really good one month and then feeling really bad the next month. Do me a favor and type roller coaster into the comment section if you've ever had that feeling as a real estate agent. So this is 2009 at this point, and I'm on the real estate roller coaster, feeling good one month, feeling bad one month. Still, I've never invested. So I'm now 6 years into reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I've never done an investing deal. And for those of you who know me, know how many investing deals I've done at this point. And I always tell people, because like I'm always somebody who's going to tell you, take action, take action. You got to start today. You got to start today. And you really do. And the reason I know that is because I didn't do that. So any advice that I'm ever going to give anybody who's paying attention to me is going to be advice that I wish I had gotten at a younger age. Okay. So 2009, 6 years into reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, still hadn't done an investing deal, up and down on the real estate roller coaster, until one day in the beginning of 2009, where I did my first investing deal. Now, I had been fortunate enough to hook up with a mentor that had been very successful. They're still in the greater Boston market as an investor today. And I hooked up with this investor who kind of helped me, show me how to market directly to sellers, showed me what to do, gave me encouragement. I saw what he was doing. I saw it was possible. He was just a couple years older than me. And in the beginning of 2009, I did my first investing deal. My first investing deal was on Cameron Ave in Somerville. Now, for those of you who know my brokerage, Cameron Real Estate Group, Cameron Ave in Somerville was my first investing deal that I named my brokerage after later. Okay? Now, I did my first investing deal, and I made $115,000. Okay, $115,000. Now, those checks I told you earlier in this conversation, those checks for $8,750, $5,000, $10,000, they seemed huge. They seemed huge when I had a job. But when you don't have a full-time job for that backup income, those $8,750, those $5,000, those $10,000 checks, they seem a lot smaller. It's a lot harder to live off of an $8,750 check when you have to go 3 or 4 months before getting your next commission. So when I did my first real estate investing deal, which was an assignment deal, I didn't put up any money, no money down. I assigned a contract from me to another investor, and I made $115,000. My whole life changed. I'm going to tell you what that first investing deal did for me. And I know I've got people who are already investors on this line, but I know I also have some people that have not invested yet. That first $115,000 did a few huge things for me. Number one, it made me realize that I could be an investor. Now, if you knew me at 21, 22, 23 years old, I was still a pretty confident guy. I still felt like I could accomplish anything. I had confidence, but in the back of my mind, I didn't really know whether or not I could do this. I truly didn't. And I don't even know if I admitted it to myself back then, but that was the reality. I didn't know if I could do it. So doing that first deal for $115,000 made me realize, wow, I can do this. I am an investor. But the second thing it made me realize was that although $8,750 checks felt really big, you know what is really big? A check for $115,000. Now, the other thing that deal did for me is it gave me some space, right? I wasn't pressing as much. I didn't need the next deal. I didn't need my next investing deal. I didn't need my next agent deal like so soon. So for those of you who are on the real estate roller coaster, making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 checks at a time, getting that big break matters, okay? And before I got that big break, like I was even thinking about going back to work full time, right? So that big deal changed everything for me. And one thing I want to point out, I know I talk about this almost every week, but you don't need money to do these deals. This was a no money down deal, okay? I went to a seller's house, I made them an offer, I put the property under contract, and I assigned the deal to somebody else who ended up buying it, okay? And by the way, the only reason that I ended up really doing that deal, truthfully, was because I had a mentor. So before I went out to that seller's house for that investor appointment, that cash offer appointment, my numbers, I calculated it out that an investor would be willing to pay $400,000 for that property for a 2-family in Somerville, Mass, which is part of Greater Boston. When I went out to that house, even though my number said an investor should pay $400,000 for this property, I was so scared that she was going to take my $400,000 offer that I made her a $300,000 offer, okay? And she took it. So after I signed it and after I got into my car, my first thought was, I don't have $300,000. I need to find a way to get out of this contract. Now, after I left that appointment, I called my mentor and I said, I have kind of good news, but I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm kind of freaking out. I've got this property that my number said I could pay $400,000 for, and I got it under contract for $300,000, but I don't have the money. And he said to me what I would say to every single person who's on this call, which is that when you have a deal in real estate, it's an asset. And he said to me, in a worst case scenario, I will pay you $50,000 for that contract. Because I can pay you $50,000 for that contract. I can buy the property, renovate it, and resell it and make more. But you shouldn't sell it to me because I'm not going to be your highest bidder. And long story short, I made $115,000 on that deal. That one investment deal, it launched my entire career. It launched everything. So since then, this is some of the stuff that I've done. And I'm telling you this stuff not to brag, but to get you to understand that if an average Joe kid from Revere with no money to start, no big advantages to start can do all this stuff, you can too. And you don't have to want to do what I'm doing, right? You can want to do any sort of modification of what I'm doing, even just little pieces of it. But this is what I've done since I did that first deal in 2009. I fixed and flipped over 1,000 homes in New England since 2009. I fixed and flipped over 100 homes in Jacksonville, Florida in the past few years. I've built and managed a 300-unit rental property portfolio. I've sold it all, cashed out, and have started building apartment buildings, and we have 250 new construction apartment buildings going up. I built from scratch, from 0 agents, up to today, 350 agents as of the time of this recording, all based on, my brokerage was based on helping agents achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. It's the only brokerage in the entire country that focuses on helping agents invest, which, by the way, is mind-boggling to me that there aren't more that do that. I've been a speaker. I'm an author. I've been a coach, and I am a coach. I'm a father of 4. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I have a 6-year-old son, a 4-year-old son, and I have a 2-year-old son. And I've accomplished more importantly, I just told you a bunch of stats, right? But stats really don't mean anything, right? Well, I could do all these deals, but what does it mean for my life, right? What it means for my life, and this is the part when I talk to people and I say, where do you want to be in 10 years? That you have to kind of put into your brain right now. Where do you want to be? Where do you want investing to take you in 10 years? And I'm going to tell you where it took me, and this is what I thought in my head 10 years ago. Number one, I want to have a bunch of kids. I got 4 kids. I accomplished that. But I wanted to be able to have my wife stay at home and not have to work. Now, we could get into a debate on like how crazy it is that pretty much there needs to be 2 income earners nowadays in America. But having 4 kids, having the ability for my wife to stay at home, that was a huge thing for me. Okay. I'm right now, as I'm sitting with you guys right now, I'm at my dream lake house. You may, unfortunately, the lake is pretty loud right now, so you might be getting some feedback right now. But I'm on a lake. I've got a really, really nice house on a lake. I have the ability to be here during the week. Like, my business is in Wakefield or Boston, and I'm in New Hampshire in a desolate area doing business where I want, when I want, okay? I've got a really nice house in Melrose, Mass, which is a nice community in Boston. Got my dream car. I've got my dream boat here. And that's what I wanted. I could die tomorrow, and I would have said, I have achieved all of my financial goals, right? And that wasn't done through selling houses. It wasn't done by having a 350-person real estate brokerage, right? Only 5 or 10% of my income comes from my brokerage. Most of my money and all of my wealth have come from investing in real estate. And this is the part that you've got to get through your head. Real estate sales will make you a living, but real estate investing will make you wealthy. All of the things that you have in your head that are 10-year goals, I can almost guarantee you they're going to be almost impossible to get if you're just an agent. All of the things that you have in your head 10 years down the road, I can almost guarantee that you're going to be able to achieve them if you invest. And one thing I always say to people, and I want you guys to answer this question in the comments. Do me a favor, type into the comments. How many of you know an average Joe like me who became financially independent, financially successful through investing in real estate? Not a rocket scientist, not a genius, not somebody who had millions of dollars to start. How many of you know an average Joe who became very successful through real estate investing? Do me a favor and type average Joe into the comment section. I want to see how many of you know an average Joe who became successful through real estate investing. Okay? Keep typing in average Joe. Help me out. I just want to know how many of you know that. Okay? So I've done a lot. But I want to just tell you guys, like, I already alluded to this, but there's 2 big lies that you're told as a real estate agent that are kind of unfortunate. And I'm not sure that the people who tell these lies are even believing that they're a lie, but I can tell you from my experience that they are lies. And the 2 biggest lies that you're told as a real estate agent, number one, are that if you build this database and you feed this database, you're automatically going to have consistent income, and that income's going to be big. I'm going to repeat it because this is like how all real estate agents are trained, and it's not a bad thing, but they're told if you keep adding people day after day to your database, you're automatically going to have this consistent income, and it's going to be great, and you're going to make a lot of money. Now, the problem with this, there's so many problems with this, and it's not, again, I don't know if the people who train on this believe it or they don't believe it, but it's definitely not true. What about the person who you've had in your database forever that goes to list their house and then they list as a for sale by owner? I know all of you have had a friend where all of a sudden you see their house in the market and you're like, no, there's no way they used another agent. And you're right, they didn't use another agent. They FISBO'd. How many of you have had somebody that's in your database? All of a sudden, they sign up either as a buyer or a seller with a discount brokerage, like a Redfin at 3%, or with the brokerage that gives them like cash back. How many of you have had people in your database that you know they're going to buy a house? They know they're going to buy a house. Then all of a sudden one day they lose their job, or they keep looking and looking and looking, and because there's no inventory, they just decide to rent. Or because somebody's in your database, they've been in your database for a while, and then all of a sudden they go direct to the list agent because they believe that the list agent's going to give them a better opportunity to buy their dream house. So your friend who's in your database had to make the really, 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 really hard decision to go to the list agent because it was either that they were going to get their dream home or work with you. And they made the really difficult decision that they were going to get their dream home. And then what about the fact that your database is just random? Like, one of the reasons I had a really good start to my real estate agent career is I had a lot of friends that like all bought houses at the same time. But then that went away, right? Because people buy and sell houses based on life events. Like, okay, you get to a certain age, you buy a condo or you buy a house, you have a kid, maybe you buy a bigger house or all this stuff, right? So it's really, really hard, and it's why it's just tough. And the thing that's frustrating to me, and by the way, I am not advocating for anybody to stop selling real estate. I just want people to know how much better investing is than selling houses. And it's true, and I'm not going to hold back on that. The reality is that when you're a real estate agent, there's luck that plays into it. And I know for me, I work really hard. I worked really hard building my database. I work really hard. I don't want to be reliant on the whims of somebody in my database to make me successful or not successful, okay? So rather than, being one of the 10% of agents that make over $300,000 a year, why not be an investor that makes well over that? 90% of all investors who invest over the course of a 10-year period become millionaires. I'm going to say that again. 90% of all investors who invest over a 10-year period become millionaires. And it's a really simple formula when you really think about it. All you have to do is buy 4, 5, 6 multifamilies and just hold on to them. They're going to appreciate in value. The rents are going to go up. The principal is going to get paid down. And all of a sudden, one day, you're going to wake up and you're going to be a millionaire. There is no formula like that as an agent. Now, one other lie that gets told, and this is really another one that's very unfortunate, is for successful agents, it is pitched by a lot of different coaching companies, by a lot of different people, by brokerages, that if you're a successful agent, you're selling 15, 20, 30 houses a year, that the next level up for you, the next step up in your career is to become a team leader and to recruit and put agents underneath you. And from a mental standpoint, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because, yeah, of course, the next step is to grow a company, grow a business. But in reality, 90% of all team leaders, successful agents who start to build teams within a 2-year window, decide that they were better off not having a team, that they were more profitable not having a team. Because what happens in so many cases is a team leader, they start to go out, recruit agents, they start to recruit new agents, and then they get them up and running, they get them to start training, and then it's 6 months later, and that new agent is like, you know what? Why am I giving up 50% of my commission to this team leader when I can do this on my own? And then they leave the team. So if you've seen that, and again, I have 350 agents at my company. I've had well over 500, 600 agents come through my company. Most teams fail. And even the ones that succeed, they don't make a killing. So building a team, a real estate team, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just not a path to wealth. The next step up for all agents should be investing, not building a team. Okay? So back it up for a second. We all know now like why we should invest. But why did I actually build out the agent investor brand? So when I started investing in real estate, I joined a really big national company. I'm not going to say the name. I promise you that every person on this call will know the name. And they discouraged me from investing. And this to this day, this still blows my mind. But I kept kind of getting called into the principal's office with the owner of the company, the franchise owner, to basically tell me to stop telling agents to invest in real estate. That investing in real estate was taking away from the traditional sales that they were promoting, which, by the way, is completely false. People who invest in real estate do far more sales than people who don't, but that's another argument for another day. They kept basically saying to me, like, you have to not promote investing in real estate. So I said, okay, I really like your company. I have no problems with you, but obviously this isn't going to be a good fit for me. So being young and not knowing, I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go work at a company where they do promote being an agent. So I started shopping around for brokerages that promoted being an agent. And what I found was that none do. None do. No brokerages have a big investing component. And that's crazy to me. Totally crazy. Because at least 50% of all agents want to invest. At least 50%. Okay? But yet you have nothing related to an investing component in your brokerage. So what I ended up doing, rather than going to another brokerage, is I started my own brokerage, Cameron Real Estate Group. And that brokerage that I've grown out to 350 agents focuses on helping agents achieve financial freedom through real estate investing, okay? We have all the bells and whistles of a traditional brokerage, but I want to make sure first and foremost that my agents achieve what they actually got into real estate to achieve. I can guarantee that almost everyone that's on this call right now got into real estate for freedom, right? When you think about real estate, you think about working when you want, working how you want, having unlimited income, and then you get into sales, and what does it become? It becomes, oh, it's Friday at 6 o'clock, and the client wants to see a house tomorrow at 9. Oh, geez, I've got to give up my plans for Saturday at 9 o'clock. That's what it becomes. So how real estate sales are sold is nothing like it is in reality, okay? So I built my brokerage. Like, if my agents, were to pick between becoming a multimillionaire, choosing their own schedule, having passive income, or selling a couple more houses a year, I would hope that they would choose to be a multimillionaire, having passive income, and giving up a couple of sales a year, right? So I built out Cameron Real Estate Group, which is licensed in all of New England. Now, of course, in an ideal world, I would just recruit people into my brokerage, but I'm not licensed in every state in the country. And that's why I started Agent Investor, because I want to be able to give all of the same tools that I give to my agents for free to everybody across the country. Now, at the time of this recording, we've got 4,000 people in the Agent Investor Facebook group. We've got 2 million agents across the United States. So my vision for the group is to have as many of those 2 million agents in the Facebook group as I possibly can. Now, I know that not every agent wants to invest. And once in a while, I bump into an agent who doesn't want to invest, and that's totally okay. I'm not out here to convince an agent who doesn't want to invest. I'm here to help the agents who want to invest that either haven't yet, don't know how yet, or who have done a little bit of investing and want to scale, take their investing business to the next level, okay? So I want as many people in this group as possible, and it's why I ask everybody, if you can do me one favor, please invite another 1 or 2 or 3 agents into the Facebook group. The bigger the group gets, the bigger my message gets, the better it is for myself and for the agent who's receiving the message. So one thing that I really focus on, and I try to break through to everybody, is that you don't need money to do this. And a lot of times when I say that to people, they kind of look at me like with a side eye, like, yeah, like this guy's trying to like sell me something. The reality of the situation is that I had no money to start. So it's really frustrating for me to hear somebody look at me funny when I say you don't need to invest in real estate. You don't need money to invest in real estate, because it's essentially like telling me that my life is false, right? Everything I've done doesn't exist. So that's why I teach on a lot of strategies on how to invest in real estate with no money. And I want to tell you guys now, like I talked about the fact that, I want to give away more stuff for free than you would get in a paid coaching program. We have quarterly events where we bring in up to 200 people from all over the country. And more than anything else, I want to create a community of agent investors where we can celebrate each other's wins and accomplishments. And for those of you who've just heard all my mission, can you give me a like and a heart if you like the sound of that vision, right? Again, giving away more investing advice and guidance for free than you would getting a coaching program for paid. Can I get a couple likes and some loves and maybe even some comments? Because every like and every heart, it gives this live a boost. So I want to reach as many people as I possibly can. Like, comment, love, please, please, please. All right, so continuing on to the purpose of this call, which is I want to tell you guys how to use all these tools. If you've paid attention to me by now, you know I can talk. I can talk for hours and hours and hours. And I feel that the content that I give is very good. And I feel like I just always want to dump more content, more training, more videos. But I always have to kind of put in the back of my head that people need to know how to use the tools that I'm giving them. So I want to go over the tools that you all are getting for free and how I would apply them to being an agent investor, right? So the first things first, Tuesday at 11, we have these live streams. This week is a special live stream. It's a little bit different. Every Tuesday at 11, I pick a topic. And that topic is picked based on the feedback that I'm getting from the people in the group. So how to use these groups, how to use these resources, one thing that I would do is I would request the topic that you want to learn about. Now, I know that that might sound a little bit selfish, and I know that you might be hesitant to say, hey, I don't want to make a special request, but let me tell you, if you're requesting a certain topic, somebody else is requesting a certain topic, I guarantee. And me choosing what the topics are all the time, it's hard because I'm not in your shoes. Okay, so I've fixed and flipped 1,000 houses. I've got a big rental property portfolio, a big brokerage. Let me know what you need. Number two, come to these live streams prepared to ask questions. I know I'm talking into a camera right now, and I can see you guys are kind of just doing like a comment here, a comment there. I'll prompt you to like or love a comment. That's good, but use this as a coaching session. More than teaching on a topic, I would rather just sit here and answer questions on how I can help you. That's where you're going to really get the value. That's where you're going to get free coaching. Okay? So every Tuesday at 11, if you can, block it off on your calendar. Now, I know that these are going to be recorded, but the value is in asking the questions live. Second thing, in the group, I'm going to do 1 to 2 what I call value posts per week, where I go over a specific strategy or topic or tactic that I feel like everybody on the call could get a big benefit. Everybody who's in the group could get a big benefit from. Now, one thing I'm doing in this group that's different than other groups is I am not going to allow for garbage posts in the Facebook group. I don't know if you've all ever been part of a Facebook group where 90% of the stuff that's posted in there is spam. You know, agents that will post their listings, or they'll ask whether or not, you have a buyer, you have a property, do you have this, do you have that? This group is going to be all value. Every post in this group is going to be meant for you to be able to scroll up and down, read every single comment, every single post, and feel like it was actually worth your time to read it. So you shouldn't have to spend half of your time scrolling through, figuring out whether or not something is worth you to read. It is all out there for you to get value from. And I'm going to do that a couple of times during the week, okay? Another thing, the Agent Investor podcast, which you can subscribe to at www.agentinvestorpodcast.com. The podcast is great. The podcast, I interview successful agent investors, successful agents that have implemented investing into their business, into their life, how it's changed their life. Now, the podcast is a little different because it's on demand. I would not advocate, you taking time out of your workday to listen to the podcast. The podcast should be used when you're driving from appointment to appointment, when you're going for a walk, when you're at the gym, when you have an extra hour here, an extra hour there. And they're not in any sort of chronological order, so you can listen to them in any order you want, and there's something that you just digest and consume when you have time. Now, the last thing that I'm going to mention, it's actually going to be probably the most important thing, but it's going to be the hardest thing for people to do, which is to come to all of our 2-day events. So we have quarterly 2-day events, so it's 8 days out of the year. You can register for those free events at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Now, at the next event that we have coming up, we're giving away a trip to Aruba just for you registering and bringing a guest. All you have to do is bring a guest, and you're going to enter in to win a free all-inclusive trip for 2 to Aruba. Now, we bribe you to bring people because we want you to come with a friend, a spouse, a significant other that has influence on your investing business. Because at the end of the day, if you go home at night and you say, hey, I listened to this crazy guy, Tom Caffarella, talk about how I can be a millionaire in real estate, and your significant other says, why are you doing that? You may never invest. So we want you to bring people that are friends and family, and we want you to have them on board with you investing too. Now, the quarterly events are really important. I have flown all across the country to Texas, I'm on the East Coast, Texas, Omaha, Nebraska, which you can only get there on a 2-flight thing, California, Ohio, all different parts of the country. And I've never had more aha moments than the live events. And the reason for that is simple. When you come to a live event and you get around 200 other people that are all on the same mission as you, a lot that have already had success, the light bulb goes off that like, hey, anybody can do this. But not only that, how often in your life do you have 2 days blocked off to learn? Like, we barely have a half an hour a day. I know if you're like me, you're always running around. It's hard to make that commitment. So for you to come to an event and just be blocked off, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. And we have those events quarterly, and we really hope that you can make all of the events. Now, all of that stuff is free. That's a lot. That's more than is in most paid coaching programs. What I'm giving away for free, if you go sign up with like a Fortune Builders, or you sign up, just Google, real estate investing mentorships. That will cost you $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000. I guarantee it. I used to have a coaching program that I charged $60,000 for that had a lot of those same components. Now, when I was a coach, I used to go and I used to speak. And again, I used to charge $60,000 for my course. And I ended up cutting that type of coaching because in my mind, I thought in my head, if somebody could cut a check for $60,000, I would be getting the most super motivated people. Now, what I found out, unfortunately, is just because somebody could cut a check for $60,000, it didn't mean that they were going to work hard. Didn't mean they were going to work hard. So I changed what I do for coaching, and I created something called the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle, because it has free and very low-cost ways to get in, it allows me to serve more people, and it allows me to focus on the people that are motivated. If somebody pays me $60,000, I have to focus on them whether or not they're going to do anything or not. If somebody is in my inner circle either for free or very low cost, it's up to them to take action, right? So I had this experience, this bad coaching experience, so I created the Inner Circle. The biggest piece of the inner circle that I can tell you, I told you my story from 2003 to 2009. I never did an investing deal. One part that I didn't highlight enough is the fact that I had a mentor in 2009 who pushed me, who coached me, who prepped me for that appointment that I made $115,000 for, who told me after I signed that deal that I better not back out of that deal, who helped me assign and wholesale that deal. Okay? So I want to give you all the ability to get mentorship from me 24/7, 365, through email, through Facebook Messenger. I truly believe that everybody needs a mentor. It's a game changer. It's a complete game changer. So my goal with the inner circle is to create a win-win for both people. Now, you guys know I've got 4 kids and I've got to make a living. So my goal when I get on a call with somebody to talk about the inner circle is, number one, I want to figure out where you're at today. Then I want to figure out where you're at in 10 years from now. Okay? I want you to be able to come to an inner circle call letting me know, hey, this is where I'm at today. This is where I want to be in 10 years. Then we talk about the skill sets that you currently have, the resources that you currently have. Do you have agent experience? Do you have flipping experience? Do you have renovation experience? Do you have potential partners that you can bring into deals? Do you have capital or do you not have capital? So we go over all of the skills that you currently have. And by the way, most agents already have so many of the pieces of the puzzle to be investors, okay? So when we jump on a call, we try to create what the most important 4 to 6 next things that you should do in your business are, okay? Because you can only do, if you've never read the book Traction by Gino Wickman, I would highly recommend reading it. And the whole core of the book is like, every quarter you set 4 to 6 priorities that you need to accomplish that quarter. And you can't do anything else until those 4 to 6 things are accomplished. Now, if you get the 4 to 6 done, could you add more? Yes. But you really have to sit there and think like, what's going to move the needle the most in my business? And if you're a salesperson and an agent like me, and you think about like, what do I want to accomplish? You'll be there for days and days and days writing on the wall. Okay, I want to do this, that, do this, that. All of a sudden you have 200 tasks. And when you have 200 tasks, guess how many of them end up getting done? 0, because none become a priority. So on our call, my goal is to be able to help you pick the 4 to 6 that make the most sense. Now, at the end of the call, we determine whether or not we're a good fit to work together. Sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. I'm not a good fit for everybody. Some people like me, some people don't. I want everybody to like me, but I understand that, I'm not the right person for everybody. But at the end of the call, I create a win-win plan so that I can make money, you can make money, and so that both of us can achieve our goals. And so the only thing I ask when people book a call, an inner circle call with me, is number one, that you come prepared to tell me your 10-year goal. And number two, you come prepared, ready to take a step forward. Okay? Now, you don't have to work with me. You can tell me, no, you're not the right fit, or you can be nice about it and say, hey, whatever. But I just don't want somebody to book a call going into the call thinking, well, I'm going to start investing in 6 months. I'm going to start investing in a year. If you don't plan to take action now and you plan to take action in 6 months, just book the call 6 months out. So I talked about the reasons that agents need to invest. You guys need to invest. There is no such thing as like most agents think, well, it'd be cool to someday maybe investing. I know I should be doing it, but maybe I'll take action into the future. Let me tell you why I think it's a need and not a would be nice. Okay, we talked about the real estate roller coaster. Most of you are on it. Unless you're making, $250,000 plus a year, and most agents don't. Most agents make between $30,000 and $150,000 a year. And so it means that you're always worried about your next paycheck, right? So to me, you want to have that monthly income coming in. from passive income. And then you want to have those big chunks of income, that $115,000 coming in. When you get that big $115,000 infusion, you're not worried whether or not next month you're closing a real estate sale. Now, real estate agents also need to invest because you have no retirement plan. There's no pension, there's no forced savings, there's no nothing, okay? And most real estate agents work forever because the second that they stop working, they stop making money. So you've got to be buying assets over the course of time that are going to throw off money. Now, we also have this thing that I don't want to scare anybody. And I don't want to knock companies like Zillow and Open Door and Redfin, but these companies are coming for market share, okay? When Redfin does a big campaign that advertises that they'll list a home for 3%, well, actually, they say 1%, but we know it's 3%, they're cutting in to your profits. Now, I am not talking poorly about these companies because I think that companies have a right to exist in the marketplace. But when Open Door starts buying houses, they're taking transactions from agents. And these companies want to make buying and selling a house something that's done online. If it's something that's done online, do you think agents are going to get paid a lot to do it? These companies are putting in billions and billions of dollars to take market share away from agents, okay? Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I don't think being an agent is going to go away, but I do think that being an agent may be less profitable over the course of time, okay? I think all agents need to be investors because getting a $5,000 check, a $10,000 commission, a $15,000 commission, that can help you get month to month. But you need those $100,000, $115,000, those hits that you get from investing. Now, the other thing is, none of us got into real estate to be a slave to our clients. And I know it's a customer service business. And I know that a lot of you love your clients and you love to work nights and weekends. But at some point, you want to have the ability to say, hey, I don't want to work this weekend. I don't want to work this night. Some of you are dealing with really, really mean, jerky clients. I can remember getting yelled at multiple times by clients. And I apologize. Again, I'm at my lake house. People are going by on their boats and, so it's really nice to be out here on the lake right now. Perfect weather for it, but may not. I apologize for the audio. But guys, you want to be able to fire your worst clients, okay? And you can do that when you have passive income. You can do that when you have big chunks of income. Someone said, I don't like to work nights and weekends. Yeah. So this is the thing, right? I think a lot of this will resonate with a lot of you. When you get your first investing check for your first agent check for 10 grand, you're like, I want to do this forever. This is amazing. And then when you get that next call to work a night and a weekend, you're like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to make that 10 grand. I want to make that 15K. But then after a while, it starts to get old. And it's not that you hate the business. I don't hate the business. I just know that you can't build, when you talk about where do you want to be in 10 years and what do you want your life to look like, you literally can't achieve it through just being an agent. You can achieve it from being an agent investor, but not just being an agent. So actually, do me a favor. We got a bunch of people on the line. Who here is sick of working with jerky clients and nights and weekends? Just type sick into the comment section. I want to see how many of you are to the point where you're a little bit fed up with working with clients that you don't love or who might actually abuse you and be mean to you or don't love working nights and weekends. Type sick into the comment section. I just want to see how many of you are feeling that way right now. All right, cool. Some of you are real sick. I hope you're not real sick. You're not actually sick, but you're just, sick and tired of kind of doing some stuff that's tough, right? Now, let's talk about the reason agents don't invest. This is so critical. And if I can do nothing else on this call, I want to break down your barrier as to why you can start investing today, because you absolutely can. Most people think you need money to invest, okay? And I get the concept. I literally get it. Trust me, I get it. It's just that it's not right. It's not true. It's factually incorrect. So I'm going to tell you about 2 deals that I did with 2 people in the inner circle. One of the biggest benefits of being in the inner circle, by the way, is that we will partner with deals with you. If you get an investing deal and you're in the inner circle, we will partner with you, which means you put up no money and you don't need any construction expertise. Oh, geez, look at that. I just took away your number one objection about why you can't start investing in real estate right now. And some of you are probably pretty frustrated by that because you want to have an objection because you're not ready to start now. Listen, I'm going to take away all these objections. By the end of this call, you're going to have no reason why you can't start. So 2 deals that I did with 2 people that are in the inner circle. Agent team, husband and wife, come to me. They say, we have this great property in a nice town in Massachusetts. Will you partner with us? Yes, it's part of the inner circle. So I give them my strike price. I say, okay, for us to partner with you and for you to make good money and for me to make good money, you have to get the property for $350,000. They go out, they get the property signed for a little bit less than $350,000. And crazy as it is, I gave them a number where we would both make about $40,000 profit by splitting that deal. Deal comes to fruition. Our team renovates the property. We put up the money. We put the property on the MLS. We get $200,000 over asking. We made $300,000 on this deal, split down the middle. We made $150,000 each on this deal. I kid you not. Now, as I sit here and tell you this story, I want to be very clear. Making a $300,000 profit on a flip is not normal. It's not even close to normal, okay? But that's the deal that we did with somebody who's in the inner circle. They had no money. They had no construction expertise. They found the deal. How did they find the deal? Well, geez, they're an agent whose friend's mother passed away. They're selling a house. They got a referral to go in and list the house. Guess what? The family didn't want to list the house. They wanted to just sell direct. So they took advantage from having their eyes open, from being inner circle members, to say, hey, we can take advantage of this opportunity. This person actually wants to sell to us. Second example, big deal, apartment deal, 88 unit in New Hampshire. Another person in the inner circle. They come to us. They say, hey, I got this 88 unit apartment building I want to do. Do you want to partner on it with me? So when we hear the word partner, we're like, okay, they want, us to put up the money. Okay. So we look at the deal. We love the deal. We're actually in the process of renovating this deal right now. So we decided to partner with them because it was a great deal. It was a deal that we loved. And we're renovating an 88 unit mill building in Nashua, New Hampshire with this person who's in the inner circle, who's going to get a piece of this deal, is going to get a passive income stream for the rest of their life from doing this deal, just from finding this deal and being in the inner circle. Now, those are 2 really big stories, and I've got small stories, small wins. If I'm talking to you guys now, I'm going to tell you about a big win. But of course, I've got small little itty bitty wins along the way. So like I mentioned, you don't need the money. You can wholesale, you can assign deals. These are methods that we teach. You can partner with people like us. If you're in the inner circle, you can partner with people who aren't like us. You can partner with anybody. The key is to be able to find the deal. Now, another objection that I get from agents is I don't know how to do the work. And again, I always say this to people, neither do I. I am as white collar as they come. My dad was blue collar, and he did not want me to be blue collar. Anytime that he was doing anything on the house, I'd be like, Dad, hey, let me help. He'd be like, no, you're not doing that. You're studying, you're doing good in school. You're not touching that. So my father-in-law, who's very handy, jokes around with me because my wife does a lot of the blue collar stuff around the house. And anytime that something needs to be done around the house, he always says to her, he says, Diana, why don't you ask Tommy to do it? Because he knows I can't do anything. And so my father took the extreme measure there. He did not want me to be blue collar for whatever reason. So I don't know how to do anything. So I've had to hire and partner and do things with people that know how to get this work done. Another objection and thing I get from agents is like, well, I'm not ready now. I'll start when I save up a certain amount of money. I've got this going on. I've got kids going to school. And the list goes on and on. One thing about successful people, in fact, the number one trait of successful people is the ability to take action, and take action without necessarily knowing how they're going to achieve the desired outcome. One thing I want to say to you guys, taking action doesn't mean that you go out tomorrow and you buy an 88-unit apartment complex. Taking action can simply mean that you decide that you're going to come to my 2-day event. It can mean that you decide that you're going to jump on a call for the inner circle. It can mean that you just show up to these live streams, because you've got to commit to getting educated. There's a saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. And it's really true. You've got to make a commitment to getting educated. Okay? Another thing I hear from agents is like, well, fear is holding me back. And fear is something that I get a little bit frustrated with, because people act like fear is a bad thing. Guess what? Our bodies and our brains were built to live in the wild without all of these luxuries that we have around us right now. Okay? So fear prevents us from going out and doing really dumb things like fighting animals that are going to kill us, like taking risks that may kill us. So you've got to get out of your head that, oh, you're scared, you're nervous. Okay, yes, that's a survival mechanism. You should be scared of things, but you've got to train your brain. Wait a second. Hold on. I don't have financial success right now, or I have not enough. Wait, what's the worst that can happen? If I already don't have a lot of financial success and then I fail at investing, whoa, wait, I still don't have a lot of financial success. Huh. So I should just try anyways? Because the worst case scenario is that I'm in the same position. Yeah. The worst case scenario is that you're in the same exact position. So you need to take action. You need to start, and you need to train your brain if the fear that you have isn't real fear. And again, I'm going to ask you guys to really think in your head, how many people do you know that have invested in real estate over the course of a 10-year period and failed? Not many. I know a lot of real estate agents that have failed. In fact, over 90% of all real estate agents fail. And you're all real estate agents. They're like taking this big risk. You have a 90% chance of failure. You're not afraid of that for some reason, but you're afraid to invest where 90% of people succeed. So agents also tell me, like, I don't have the time. Guess what? It doesn't take 100 hours a week. I don't know how. Well, that's what the inner circle is for, right? So do me a favor, like or love this live stream right now. If you've ever made one of these excuses, I don't have money, I don't have time, I don't know how to be a contractor, I'm too scared, I don't know how, like or love the video right now. Again, just so I can see how many people are out there that are dealing with kind of the same type of stuff. Because again, I've had conversations with probably 1,000 agents at this point, and this is the stuff that, I hear over and over again. So guys, here's the mindset shift that you need to have. I've coached hundreds of people at this point on real estate investing, and I've coached agents and non-agents. I've probably coached 50% of each. I quit coaching non-agents because it was too hard. Now, I believe that everybody can invest in real estate, but I will tell you, it is so much easier coaching an agent than it is coaching a person working a 9-to-5, an engineer, an accountant, an attorney, a doctor, a teacher, whatever profession it is. As an agent, you are already 90% of the way there. This is the crazy part, okay? Number one, as an agent, you already know what a good deal is. I guarantee you have said to yourself at some point recently, oh, wow, that was a good deal. I should have done that deal. Oh, my client bought that house. That was a good deal. You know what a good deal is. You also find deals by accident. That $300,000 partner deal that I did with a team in my office that's in the inner circle, They just got a listing appointment. Okay. You guys come across deals without even trying. By co-bros, by listing appointments, by people just talking. You hear it, right? You're trained as an agent. Someone's talking about real estate. You hear it. You see an estate sale. You're like, oh, that person's selling their house. You also know how to value properties. I don't have to train or mentor you to figure out what a property's worth, how much rent would be, how much the property would be worth renovated. You know how to sell houses. You likely already have industry contacts. You probably already know some contractors. You probably already have some property managers or know some. You know how to negotiate. You know how to put deals together. You have 90% of the things you need to succeed already, but you've got to be open-minded to new ideas. And doing deals with no money is the most important one. And guys, guess what? I've got money now, but I still don't use my own money. Why? Because when I do an apartment deal, it takes me $4, $5, $6 million to do an apartment deal. Okay, yes, I'm a millionaire, but I can't keep coming up with $4, $5, $6 million at a pop, right? So everybody runs out of money. I don't care how much money you have in real estate, you need more. So you always need to learn how to do deals with no money because you're always going to run out of money because properties cost a lot of money, okay? So I told you about why I created the Inner Circle. I created the Inner Circle because all of this stuff that I'm giving away for free, it's good and you can be successful without joining the Inner Circle. But I thought back to my own experience of saying, I needed somebody else in my corner to help me. So when you're in the Inner Circle, you have 24/7, 365 access to me, to send me a Facebook message, to send me an email. Hey, Tom, I've got this appointment. What should I do? Hey, Tom, I'm trying to raise money for a deal. What do you suggest doing? We also give you, as part of the Inner Circle, hundreds of videos that I've already shot, all investing videos. And part of the Inner Circle isn't to just say, hey, here's 100 videos, watch them. It's to say, oh, we had the conversation, remember, about where you're at, what tools you already have, where you need to go. This is what you need to be learning about. Because without the Inner Circle, it's like, well, what do you do next? Well, you can try to figure it out. You can listen to every single podcast episode and watch every video I have, but which one do you need to implement today to move on? The events that we have, you come to a free dinner that we have that's me, the people that are in the Inner Circle, and it's the night, usually the Thursday night. You get the ability to partner with us. Probably the biggest benefit of the Inner Circle. If you're in the Inner Circle, it automatically means that you don't even have to go out and raise money. You don't even have to go out and find contractors because we will partner on deals with you. The Inner Circle gives you a once-a-month coaching session, a group coaching session, where we're on a Zoom call and we're talking about your individual situation. So there's a lot. Those of you who are interested, maybe you've already signed up for a call, but if you do want to sign up for a call, all you have to do is go to www.agentinvestorinnercircle.com and put a day and a time on my calendar. Like I said, the only thing I ask is that you're ready to start now and that you come with your 10-year goals, okay? And we talked about the 4-step process on the Inner Circle call. Number 1, we figure out your 10-year plan. Number 2, we determine what skills and resources you have now. Number 3, we determine the top 3 to 5 things that you need to do in the next quarter to move your business to the next level. And then we put you into these monthly calls to make sure you're on track. And you'll continue on this path until you hit your 10-year goal. So to prepare for the calls, like I said, all I ask is that you set up your 10-year, that you're prepared to make a decision, and that you're ready to take action. So some simple examples of outcomes that I've gotten for people that are in the Inner Circle, some big and some small. You don't have to want to do what I'm doing. All that you need to do is want to add investing to your arsenal. All that you need to want to do is make and have more freedom and more flexibility and a base income and big hits of income and passive income and have a retirement plan. All you need to do is want to do those things. So some examples of small goals. I helped a 26-year-old in our office buy a 4-family. This is a small thing. He now lives in that 4-family for free, and he makes $2,000 a month. So he makes $24,000 a month just from having one investment deal that we helped him find. He also sells about 30 houses a year, and he flips 5 to 10 houses a year. Another example of a bigger goal, somebody that in my office owns 200 units. They flip about 30 houses per year. Another person in my office, they flip 3 to 4 houses per year. They just flip the houses that they get from the listing appointments that they go on. They own a big multifamily, and they invest passively in our apartment syndications. Sorry, guys, I've been going for a while now. So all of these people that I mentioned, I gave you just a couple of quick case studies. They're all millionaires, and they're not worth 500 million, okay? But they've already crossed the 7-figure net worth mark. Now, I'm here to tell you that being a millionaire in today's day and age is a lot less than it used to be. So just crossing the 7-figure mark probably isn't enough, but it's a start. But we want to help people create multiple 7-figure net worths, okay? And please understand that the stuff that I help people with in the inner circle, it's not magic. I'm not magic. It's just stuff that if you're motivated and you're willing to take action, you can achieve without doing anything crazy, without having a big, big change to your life, okay? So I'm going to wrap up. But the biggest difference between people who have massive, massive success and who don't is taking action. And if I showed you a group of like 20 people who are multimillionaires through owning real estate, and a group of people who were successful agents who had a net worth of less than $200,000, and I mixed them up in a room, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between one person and another. The difference is that the people who are successful committed to taking action. They didn't say, okay, let me do this a year later. Let me do this 6 months later, because you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. The timing's never going to be perfect. And guys, we're not asking you to like go on like some sort of like, oh, okay, you're not going to sleep anymore. You're not going to eat anymore. You're not going to spend money anymore. We're not asking for this huge sacrifice. All that we're asking is for you to take a step forward, to take action. So if you're ready to take action, type action into the comment section. Type action into the comment section. And I get that, like, you know, we've got a bunch of people on here, and I know that maybe some of you aren't ready, and that's okay. But man, I would just say, like, there would be few and far between times where I would ever have a good reason that I would say someone shouldn't take action now. And again, the action can just be committing to getting on a call. The action can just be committing to coming to the 2-day live event. The action can just be blocking off Tuesdays at 11 on your calendar. But man, take the action and take it now. So guys, I want to thank you for watching this. I know we went a little bit over, and I know this was a little bit off topic. Next week, we're going to get back to a more like actionable topic. Although I will say that typically conversations like this are actually more valuable, because if I reached even just a few of you to take action now, that's more important than giving you the information to make money. Because if you're not going to take action, then it's kind of all for naught. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you again next Tuesday at 11.